All right, so let's look at another duplicate and freeze option. This is a kind of a favorite one of mine because, in the real world, most items, hardware, hard surface items, if you will, are not constructed of a single piece of material. They're usually constructed of various parts that are snapped or glued or bolted or whatever together, to make a more complex form. And that's kind of a natural thing to do with Mesh Fusion, and it also has some Mesh Fusion modeling advantages because when a complex model is broken up into several fusion items, there's less of a performance drag. You can get some performance slowdown with really complex fusion items that contain many source meshes. So to give you an example here, we have a very nondescript, simple little fusion model here made of some FlexFuse primitives, and we have this cylinder here, which is a subtractive element. So the idea would be that I want to continue this model with another fusion item, and that fusion item will have a part that fits into this cavity created by the cylinder. So the best way to do that, if you want to maintain maximum fusion flexibility, is to take that mesh and use the merge mesh push dupe option. And what that does, go ahead and fire it off here, is it creates a new procedural mesh. And that procedural mesh, you look at its mesh ops, has a merge meshes op, and the source is that cylinder mesh that was our subtractive mesh here in this fusion item. So it's taking that as a input, as a source for merge meshes, and this new procedural also has a push influence mesh op, which simply allows us to vary the fit, how loose or tight we want this fit. For example, if I were to go to that push influence and give it a negative value, you see our duplicate, our copy, is now smaller, and it still, of course, fits into that cavity, but more loosely. So that just allows us to control that fit. But the more central idea here is that we have our duplicate that fits into that slot, and we could go ahead and build on that, use that as a use this new duplicate mesh, and you got to be careful here since they're both together. Make sure you're actually selecting the duplicate. We have that duplicate mesh, and we can make that a new fusion item. So now we have two fusion items. Move this out of the way just to keep our fusion items together here. We have two fusion items, our original one, which I'm hiding there, and this new one, which fits into the cavity. And the nice thing about using this particular option, the merge mesh push dupe option, again, you have to imagine we're building a more complex fusion item, so we would be adding things to this second fusion item. But in any case, the fact that it's a merge mesh duplicate means that we're free to do anything we like with the original FlexFuse item. For example, I could select its frame and go to edges here, select an edge, and move that edge. And our fit is maintained between the original and the duplicate. And of course, that will carry through for all kinds of things, including if we go back to item mode with the frame and simply move the frame, transform the frame, same thing. The cavity and the new fusion item continue to match.